What is up, guys? Drew Martin here talking SEC football for week 10, going over each and every game. Got a pick against the spread, got best bets at the end. Last week, I didn't recap how it's been going so far this season. Last week, we went 2-2. We did lose the best bet with Kentucky. Wrong side on that one. Just got to kind of look at it as water under the bridge and try to find more winners this week. But overall, we're 28-24. That's 54%. Best bets 4-3, 57%. So overall, we're profitable. If you've been betting all of these picks that I've been doing each week in the SEC, I did take one bye week. But outside of that, 28-24, 54% on the season, picking every game in the SEC. So got a bunch of SEC games this week, unlike last week. So I'd like to do this in under 10 minutes. So going to get after it here. 12 noon Eastern, ESPN, Missouri at Georgia. One of the worst teams in the SEC versus the best team in the SEC, most likely, at least in a lot of people's eyes, the best team in all of college football. That's the Georgia Bulldogs. Minus 39 points, though, the ultimate equalizer here. They're going to win by 40 points. If they don't, you don't win your bet on them. 59 being the total. An interesting stat I saw on Georgia, 245 rushing attempts versus this Georgia Bulldogs defense. And only one of them went for more than 20 yards. That was on, I believe, the last play of the game versus UAB. They were winning by like 50 points. So that was a pretty remarkable stat that I found. Overall, look, guys, Missouri's lost every game this season against the spread. So if you've been betting on Missouri, you've lost every single time. You're probably out of money. We actually bet on them last week because they were going up against Vanderbilt. Turned out, don't bet on Missouri. I learned my lesson. Don't love laying 39 points in a conference game in the SEC, but I just think Missouri's that bad. Lay the points. Georgia minus 39. This is the biggest spread I can remember in this conference. But without further ado, Bulldogs minus 39 for the first game. Also 12 noon Eastern kicking us off here. Liberty versus Ole Miss. We got Hugh Freeze Bowl here as Hugh Freeze comes back to Oxford, Mississippi. 57 being the total. 57.5, actually, it's ticked up. Ole Miss minus 9-point home favorites. Couple stats that caught my attention. Hugh Freeze is 24-10 against the spread as a underdog. So he's really been cashing tickets when he's supposed to lose games. But he's also only 11-34 against the spread when playing SEC teams. So for whatever reason, he's kind of struggled in the conference. Lane Kiffin is the guy that is the coach now for Ole Miss. He's only 12-19 against the spread in non-conference games, and he's only 6-11 against the spread at home, and 2-8 against the spread versus winning teams. So Liberty, I know it's not on the same caliber of a lot of SEC teams here, but they are a pretty good program. They got a pretty good quarterback, good coach. It's enough to keep me off the Ole Miss side. Let's put it that way. Especially they're banged up. You know, Matt Corral at the quarterback position. Heck, more than half their defense is out. So I'm not really looking to ask them to win by margin here. Instead, both teams run up tempo. I think there'll be a lot of plays. I think there'll be some big plays. They both got athletes at skill positions here. Over 57.5 is the play, Liberty and Ole Miss. So 2 games down, a bunch to go. Auburn, Texas A&M, 3:30 on CBS. That's the best bet. So we'll come back and visit it at the end here. We got Mississippi State and Arkansas, 4 p.m. Eastern kick. This was a tough one for me. Mississippi State plus 4.5, 54 being the total. Mississippi State looked good against Clemson. We lost on them last week, talking about going up against them. So kind of learning our lesson here. I think Mississippi State's going to be stronger in the trenches. They look pretty good. Their defense is all right. Mike Leach, not a guy I love betting on, but still catching 4.5 points here. I'll take the underdog. I think it's a toss-up game, so give me the points. LSU and Alabama next game up. Alabama minus 28.5, total of 66. Look, Alabama under Nick Saban, a lot of people think, and myself included, until I kind of put 2 and 2 together, he doesn't necessarily run up the score against bad teams. However, against the SEC, like when he's favored by 3 touchdowns, 2 to 3 touchdowns, I noticed he will win by more than the spread says a lot of the time. Sure enough, the stats speak to that. Alabama is 7-0 against the spread versus SEC teams when at home and favored by more than 15 points. So, it kind of spells it out. When he's at home in Tuscaloosa, they will actually look to run it up a little bit. Sure enough, they're going to have to cover 4 touchdowns here. So it's a little bit bigger of an ask going up against LSU, Nick Saban's old employer. LSU's down. They have showed some fight. It's not like they've quit on the season, but still, this Alabama team, I think they got it rolling. And I would, if you made me bet it, which I'm picking each one here, so got to minus 28.5 on Alabama over LSU. Tennessee and Kentucky. Tennessee's minus 1 point road favorites, 57 being the total. The Vols are off of a bye, and a lot of people saying they're playing better football. Their offense is definitely playing better, no doubt about it. Kentucky off of that tough loss against Mississippi State, but only 2 weeks removed from their bye week. They've also been plus money the whole season here. I think the wrong team's favored. +1 with Kentucky is the play. Night game in Lexington. Give me the point and the Wildcats with Kentucky in this one. Last game before the best bet here. Also a night game. Florida at South Carolina. We get the Florida Gators laying 20.5. So they're going to have to win by 3 touchdowns or more. 52 being the total. South Carolina 8-2 against the spread as a home dog of 2 touchdowns or more. So for whatever reason, they've played good at home when they're supposed to lose the game. And the University of Florida has struggled on the road as heavy favorites in the conference. Really not cashing tickets over the last couple years in this role. So that kind of speaks to me. Night game in the SEC can be a tough place to play. South Carolina isn't that great, but still, I like that 8-2 against the spread as a home dog of 2 touchdowns or more. I'll take the Gamecocks plus 20.5 just to keep it within reason against the Gators. So guys, that's every game besides the best bet. And for the first time getting involved in an Auburn game for the best bet on the SEC video, we get the Auburn Tigers at the Texas A&M Aggies, 3:30 on CBS, College Station, Texas, home of the 12th man. And in this series, actually the away team is dominated. Texas A&M coming off of a bye. A lot of times you look for that as like a bet-on situation here. The only thing is A&M is 2-16 against the spread when coming off of a bye week during the regular season. So they have not performed well off of a bye week. That's going back to the Sumlin administration. But even under their current head coach here, not good. It's 0-10 straight up and against the spread when not favored by 7 or more, which they're not favored by 7 or more. So when they're supposed to blow the other team out, they are a little bit better. But in this kind of profile of bet, they are not good at all. So that speaks to me. Look towards the Auburn Tigers. They've been bet on for me for a few weeks now, guys, and going to look to bet on them again here. Bo Nix is playing better football. Tank Bigsby, we got to ride him while we can, while he's still in college. He's going to be toting the rock in the NFL soon enough. So look to bet on Auburn here. +4.5. I think they win the game outright if you want to sprinkle a little bit there on the money line. I know the Auburn Tiger helmet is right up there, but still, we've been betting on them and actually cashing tickets. They've been playing good football here. We get 2 good coordinators, Derek Mason, Mike Bobo, enough time under their belt to kind of implement their systems here. Actually holding Arkansas and Ole Miss under their season averages in terms of scoring and yardage. The last 2 games, they had a bye week squeezed in between against Arkansas and Ole Miss. I don't think Texas A&M's offense is good as either of those two. So all that kind of speaking here towards Auburn being the side, 3:30 on CBS, +4.5 with the underdog. The underdog is barking with the Auburn Tigers. That's the best bet, guys. So best of luck if you're out there tailing. Hopefully we can continue the profitable season so far. Look to doing this each and every week in the SEC, previewing them all. Feel free to shout out any questions. Best way to get at me is probably on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. Also do this, Drew Martin Bets, on YouTube and Facebook as well if you're having any trouble watching. Daniel, what's up? Thanks for joining me, man, on Facebook. Yeah, you like an Auburn too, man. War Eagle. Hopefully you're enjoying Vegas out there, man. I'll be out there soon. I'll hit you up, no doubt about it. But thanks for tuning in, man. Out there, if you're liking the video, please smash this like button. Feel free to comment below as well on YouTube. Guys, best of luck. Cash those tickets.